Salam. Phoenix Ramadan L. Jackson back in the light about Brazeera. Okay, and this is video 2. Okay, we were using the analogy of football, okay, and soccer. Okay? Like Islam. Like Islam, okay? Like soccer in America. Americans don't know too much about Islam. Though it's been here a while, they don't know much about it, right? Because America is a Protestant nation, right? So, but the rest of the world is very familiar because Islam is, like Christianity, both are the largest religions in the world, right? So every country in the world has, a population of Muslims, right? Or some Muslim in their family. So they're very familiar with it. So they know basically how Islam is constructed, like how they know how Islam is constructed, right? Versus in America, they really don't. It's like soccer. It's a very new sport to them, new entertainment, right? So the media can basically say what they want, but the rest of the world will recognize it as falsehood, but Americans will not, because they will be susceptible to the falsehood, okay? And the falsehood that creates Islamophobia, right? And the rest of the world will be thinking, that's not the nature of Islam. And they will be questioning the naivete of Americans, right? The competence of Americans, because they will be thinking, that's not how the game is played. That's not how, Islam is, right? So, but the media will be knowing that. They know, that they are misleading to play on the American population's emotions, right? Their emotional intelligence. What they're doing is destroying the emotional intelligence by feeding them false information, right? To get the response they want. Just manipulating, like what? The personal beings, right? To usurp the energy, right? And through this game playing, this desensitizing, okay, by playing on the emotions, by making them angry, okay, and creating hatred, right? They desensitize, they disarm the person's emotional intelligence, thereby dehumanizing the individual, okay? Because, okay, they dehumanize the individual, okay? And they dehumanizing, okay, by constantly assaulting one's humanity through their emotional intelligence, right? With criminal acts of organized violence against their nature, the human nature, and through constant assaults and destructions of their natural environment. The newest thing is what? ISIS cutting off of a person's head, and the person saying Jesus to inflame Christians, right? To hate Muslims, right? Again, creating more Islamophobia. Playing on emotional intelligence, disarming through dehumanizing acts. You don't know if that person was Christian or not, okay? There's no evidence to substantiate that. However, even if it did, whether or not they were Christian, okay, it's not the real issue here, okay? The real issue here is what they're trying to do to you, and that is dehumanize you, so that you can, by disarming your emotional sense, your emotional intelligence, okay, to be able to evaluate something, because we all know when we're emotionally unstable, many people say anything and do anything, okay, and do acts of violence, because they are emotionally imbalanced, they're outraged, right? So that's what they're trying to do, create outrage, okay, by constantly bombarding your emotions, with brutality. So then you'll do their will, right? You'll do what they want you to do, and that is, let's get mad enough to go and bomb. What some say, bomb them back into the Stone Age. Let's continue to use this depleted uranium, this democratic depleted uranium, to blow them back to kingdom come, and so that their babies, so that the women will no longer be, the population will be, the population will become infertile, right? Or birth defects, the land is destroyed, because it becomes infested with uranium, right? And then, okay, continue to just destroy the environment, right? Because we're angry because ISIS, who was constructed by what, Israel, Britain, and America, that's, Zionists, right? Is killing Christians, right? Those Muslims. So let's have the spiritual war, right? So that's the game they're playing on your mind, flooding you with the negative stress, flooding you with brutality, so that you be disarmed intellectually, emotionally, intellectually. We're supposed to be have that heart soft like a child, right? Not get angry, but pray and cry about it, right? Think about it, okay? Think logically about it, right? But they're trying to disarm you of that, right? So you just use rage and madness. Who does that? The beast, right? He's outraged, right? Anyway, so those are organized acts of violence. Well, ISIS is an organized act of violence, right? Organized to create violence and chaos and draw you into war, right? ISIS has no nuclear bombs. ISIS has no airplanes. ISIS has no tanks. ISIS has no submarines, okay? Everything, all the military hardware they've been given is American owned, was American owned first, right? Was built and constructed in America, right? Or Britain, okay? They didn't get it themselves. All their trucks, utility vehicles, they were not, if you look at them, they're probably made in America. So America is arming them. And they cover their faces because they're not Arabs. They are Latinos, okay, from Latin America, okay. So you're being played with, okay. And as and many Latin Americans are Catholic, right? So sponsored by who? The Vatican, right? Okay. So and as we said, the latest video was, ISIS cut off the head of a Christian, he said Jesus before he died. Okay? And that outraged the Christians. Well, it should outrage not only Christians, but it should outrage everybody. But if that outraged you, seeing that happen to, the Christian outraged you, then you should be outraged when you saw the video that I posted about, the torture in Abu Ghraib. You should be outraged about the what happened in Guantanamo Bay. You should be outraged what's happened, when those children had their brains blown out. Nobody said blast Israel back into the Stone Age, and I'm not suggesting that somebody suggests that, but what I'm saying is, if one is emotionally healthy or has emotional intelligence, if they're not dehumanized, if they're not desensitized, they will have the same reaction, the emotional reaction to what happened in Palestine, or what's happening in Palestine, what's happening in Iraq, what happened with the depleted uranium in Iraq, what happened in Libya, what's going on in Egypt. They should happen to have the same reaction to what's happening in the starvation in Africa, Fukushima. They should have the same type of emotional reaction to all of that, not just when somebody says Jesus. Okay, this is not, the same game is being played that was played with racism, okay, imperialism, or cultural imperialism. Now we're having spiritual imperialism. Kill everybody else that don't say Jesus, okay? Kill everybody else that ain't white. That's how the game was played. And label them as niggers, savages, Japs, wetbacks, or what have you. Now it's terrorist, it's jihadist, it's whatever else, negative connotation they can attach to what they want to consider an inferior spirituality, while considering themselves supremacist or superior, and then playing on your emotional intelligence or lack thereof to do their bidding, to kill, like they did with the in times of, you know, during the institution of slavery. Because I don't say black people, African people were slaves. They were not slaves. They were not born slaves. They were forced into a system, okay, a system, an institutional, okay, of slavery. Slavery was institutionalized. Think about that. Slavery was institutionalized. Okay, it was legal, made legal. Okay, so they were compelled, and Africans were compelled into slavery. My ancestors were never slaves. They were forced in an institution of slavery. Okay, and black is beautiful. Anyway, I had to say that because it was funny to me. Okay, anyway, moving on. Okay, white's beautiful too. Okay, man is beautiful. Humanity is beautiful. But I just had to say that. Okay. Anyway, so moving on. So now, so we have spiritual superiority. Okay, that's what they're trying to institute at this point by constantly making you think that Islam is the new nigger, right? It's the nigger religion. It's the nigger spirituality, right? Okay. And then what? 500 years later, wake up to realize that, oh, like today with racism, the damage that it's caused, this spiritual elitism, right? Yeah. Okay. So let's recognize this. Let's see it coming. You know, let's see Columbus coming. Let's see the Nina, the Pinta, and the Santa Maria come, and let's stop it before it gets ashore and try to plant its seeds in the new world. Okay, for a new world order, a new commercial world order. Because that's what it will be, a new commercial world order, where we have spiritual supremacy and the initiation of the Inquisitions again. And when I post those videos, that's material that we're going to cover in these conversations. So that's why I post those videos, so that you will be prepared for what the direction that these conversations are going to go. Okay. So that's what they would do. Claims like they did, you know, in the what is that? You know, 14th century, I think it was, and they started the Inquisitions, right, and killing of the Jews and the Muslims and anybody who was suspected of not following church orders, right, and putting them torturing them like they're doing in the prisons today, right, and like they're doing in Muslim countries, right. So anyway, so they're continuing to do, right. So I forget what it was. Oh, so they're claiming spiritual supremacy. Let's see Columbus coming. Let's stop him. Let's stop this criminal. Okay, we don't want to wake up. What, 500 years? First of all, we don't have 500 years. If we don't get this right, we won't have 5 years. Okay, if we let them get away with this, if we let Columbus sail the ship again, let's not even let his ship sail. How about that? Let's stop him at the dock. Okay, so if we allow this spiritual supremacy to take place and kill up all other, you know, religions as inferior and compel people like they did, you know, in the 14th century to embrace, you know, the state religion, like Constantine did as well, right? Well, he really didn't have to because, well, we won't go there. He didn't really have to. So they supported him, but anyway, we won't go there. But anyway, as we said, you know, we'll stay with the 14th century. So if, you know, we allow them to, continue with this Islamophobia, and emotionally, I like this blouse, this dress, and emotionally manipulate us, our spiritual and our emotional intelligence, right? Which is part of our spiritual intelligence, right? So it's part of the whole package, right? So if we allow them to manipulate us like that, right, then the next thing we're going to see is the Inquisition. Okay? Okay? And anybody who does not adhere to the 666, right, then you know what is already foretold to happen. So don't let them manipulate your emotional intelligence by playing this game of, he said Jesus before he died, and and allowing the name of Jesus to bring, just cause you to psychologically black out, okay, and go on a killing rampage, or call for, a spiritual war and the dropping of the depleted uranium. Because guess what? Once you allow them to start dropping the bombs, okay, once you call for it, because they want you to call for it, they want to do it, but they want you to tell them to play the game. They want you to tell them to do it, so then they can say, well, you wanted us to do it. This is what you wanted. And if it comes back on you, right, when they start to come back, because then they'll say, okay, we had to do that, but in order to do that, we have to take away some more of your rights to protect you, to protect here. Okay, so it's game on both ends. So they do these criminal acts, okay, and use organized violence, criminal acts of violence, right, against one's nature, and through constant destruction of the natural environment, right? Okay. Now, they intentionally use commercial programming to dehumanize humanity by desensitizing through the most heinous, gruesome brutalities, as we said, cutting up the head and then saying Jesus, right? And then bringing Christians and making them hate one another. Okay, and as I said, I'm going to post some videos about what it says in the Quran each morning, so that you can begin to understand Islam, for yourself, and how Islam and Christianity is that Islam is basically an Islam. Okay, there's Moses, there's Prophet Isa, the one born of a virgin, and then there's Prophet Muhammad, and of course there's prophets beyond that, and back of that, Abraham, Noah, Isaiah, Solomon, David, and various other ones, right, who came behind it. But I'm just using Moses because of the Torah. I'm using Isa because of the prophet born of a virgin, because of the Bible, and I'm using Prophet Muhammad Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam because of the Quran, right? The Quran is an expansion of what the prophet of a virgin said. The Bible is an expansion, Prophet Muhammad's message is an extension of what Prophet Isa said, the prophet born of a virgin said. What the prophet born of a virgin said is an expansion of what Prophet Moses said. And together, okay, like so-called, the three books together make up the complete message. Okay, that's what Prophet Muhammad Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam is said to be the final message, because his message is the completion of them all messages. We had Prophet Moses have a message, Prophet Isa had a message, and Prophet Muhammad Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam had a message. Okay, Prophet Muhammad's message was an extension of the prophet born of a virgin's message. The prophet born of a virgin's message is an extension of Prophet Moses, what Prophet Musa said. We call him Musa, what Musa said. So all three of them together, okay, and all three of their messages are from the same creator, the same Allah, the same one who built the universe, the same one who can destroy the mountains, the same one in charge of Judgment Day, the same one who created mankind from clay. Okay, so they got you thinking that Islam is just this radical, crazy thing. If Islam is crazy and radical, so too is Christianity. If Christianity is crazy and radical, so too is Judaism, because they all are the same. They all are one. And it's time to wake up and realize that and recognize that, or else they are going to continue to play on your emotions, your intelligent sense. To kill a Christian is to kill a Muslim. To kill a Muslim is to kill a Jew. To kill a Jew is to kill a Christian or to kill a Muslim. I pray none of them get killed. But my point is, they are one. Okay, just like the body of man is when they played that game with racism. Oh, black people are less than white people. White people are more superior. So now white people can look down on black people. Now we're 500 years into that bullshit, and look what's going on in the world. Now because of the game they played, created so much division. Now they stepping in trying to take control of everybody. Now everybody's got to hurry up, rush, and get together and recognize, oh, we are one human family. They're playing this game with religion too. It's a game. It's time we stop them. Unite and stop them. Muslims, Christians, and Jews. No hatred of Jews, no hatred of Christians, and no hatred of Muslims. You're one. Your messenger said what Prophet Muhammad ﷺ said what Prophet Isa said. The Prophet born of a virgin said. The same thing from the same Allah, same God. Prophet born of a virgin said the same thing Prophet Musa said. Okay? They said the same thing. Come at different times, needed at different times, but they said the same thing. It's an extension of the same thing. Okay? Just like the human family is one. And we're just waking up and realizing the damage that we caused by allowing them to manipulate us through that game. Okay? So, as we said, they dehumanize. Okay. Humanity, we won't go there, okay? I'm not going to start there. Okay. Now, one must maintain sensitive, one must maintain one must remain sensitive to their emotional intel if they are to attempt to comprehend what the vibrations are causing emotional. I hate video 3. Salam alaikum.